Get started here. Okay, good morning, everybody. I want to call to order the Historic Landmarks Advisory Commission meeting for July 8th, 2024. And we'll start with the roll call and we'll go to my left.
Lansing Duncan, 3rd District.
Karen Steinwachs, 3rd District.
Keith Coffin Gray, 1st District Chair.
Ronald Nye at large.
Sheila Snow, 1st District.
Richard Saloga, 2nd District.
And we have Randy Malcolm. Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to public comment. This is the time if anybody wants to talk about anything that is not on today's agenda. Do we have any public comments?
We have no letters submitted and we have no requests to speak for public comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Move on to staff update. Oh, I'm sorry, the minutes. Okay, we have the minutes from our last meeting, which is June 10th, 2024. I just want to say a little something here. As you remember, this was a very, very long meeting. And of course, there was very, very long minutes. And I want to thank Jonathan Martin for tackling, going through the hearing, listening to everything, writing it all down. And then, of course, Lansing Duncan took that and edited everything down. So what you see is an edited version of the minutes, which is still very, very long. So I want to thank both of them for their hard work on this. We can start with comments on the minutes. Any corrections? Commissioner Duncan?
Mr. Chair, and I do want to thank Jonathan for working very hard to try and get everything we said of importance down. There are just a couple little things I still see on the first page when we're talking about project discussion. It talks about for the replacement of it should be for the replacement Alamo Pintado Creek pedestrian bridge. So it's a replacement bridge. That's what we're talking about. That's the point. Also, we need a period after the very last line on the page under HLAC budget. And, oh yes, there's a little spelling error on page 5. And this is definitely a case where I know if I'd put these down, I would have written them a different way. On the 3rd line, Mattie's Tavern, it's misspelled. It's MATTEI'. And that was all I saw, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else have some corrections? I personally just saw one on page 6 at the top. This had to do with the resolution, the action item. And it says associated sandstone landscape features of the design landscape as a historic landmark and continue. Should be the adoption of the resolution. There should be a "the" in there. Any other? Yes, Commissioner Nye.
Yes, thank you. And I also appreciate the hard work of Commissioner Duncan and Jonathan, of course. This was a serious set of minutes. At the bottom of page 2, under HLAC questions, line 4, there should be a comma after estimate. On page 3, under the heading near the top, or not near the top, but towards the top, under action, the last line should be approval, comma, and to move ahead. These are microscopic items, I warn you. Down near the bottom under HLAC comments on page 3. Commissioner Nye stated that the church is an outstanding property, comma, and there should be an and put in after the word property. Down on the last sentence, that should be made into 2 sentences. Put a period after all saints. Capital I for it. I had a question on page 4, second paragraph, third line. Remove the reference to post-Hazeltine's criteria analysis. Were you suggesting remove a reference or remove the fact that that report was relied upon?
Yes, it specifically was in that paragraph. It referred to post-Hazeltine's analysis of the criteria, and post-Hazeltine had used the wrong criteria. This is how Ms. Long got stirred astray.
Oh, they did also?
They did, exactly. And so this is why I
Mistake.
suggested it be revised in the nomination so that we refer to the right criteria.
Oh, okay, I agree. I didn't bother to look back at that. So is there a reference to post-Hazeltine in there still? Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm going to actually skip some of these. You'll be happy to know. On page 5, second paragraph, next to last line, which starts as long as the outside structure, so on and so forth. I think what Commissioner Steinwachs was saying, as long as the outside of the structure. Yeah. Okay. So after the word outside, put of the. The next paragraph. Next to last line. Put a period after the word nomination. And insert after the word HLAC members. HLAC members are concerned. I'm gonna skip. Oh, page 6. Under almost to the bottom, architect Barry Wicknick described that paragraph. The second sentence, he showed an entirely different symmetrically placed double doorway with canopy and conceptual signage. What I don't think it was symmetrically placed.
Pardon me?
The original was asymmetrically.
That's right. What this whole line points out
Yeah.
is that in the agenda and in the materials and plans that were submitted to us, we had one set of proposals. And then when they came to us, they had significantly changed 3 aspects.
Okay.
And one had to do with the door, and along with the door went the canopy and the conceptual signage. The other change was to a minor change to a lamp on the Pacifica end.
I see.
And the third thing was they had proposed a skylight and they changed it to roofing over. It seemed to me like we needed it clear in the minutes that the actual thing they asked us to comment on was something different.
Okay, thank you. Well, that follows then page 7 under your comments, Mr. Duncan. There are 2 sentences there starting with before, and this is the same issue. And maybe are you comfortable with it the way it is? I didn't think it made sense, those two
Where-
sentences together.
Which
It-
sentence
It's the
specifically?
it's the third sentence under Commissioner Duncan before,
Actually, I'm talking about historically,
right.
which at that point in time, that's what we were doing. We were comparing what was proposed for us and,
Oh, you're doing that again. Okay,
yeah, as
Sorry.
compared to what we saw now, what you can see now.
so you want to say, before in the prior drawings or something? Or
Well, why don't we say the existing door? And that will make it clear.
The paragraph below that, the third line down, um, there's a typo. Proposed skylight is where the old cabanas used to be. There should be a D after the word use. Further down under the third from the last comment, Commissioner Nye applauds the historic report, blah, 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 and supports the revised project. So there should be a S after the word supports. And that's enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Nye. Any other comments on the mission, on the minutes? Someone like to move to approve the
I'll move
as it-
to
as amended?
approve the minutes as amended.
And I'll second the approval of the minutes of June 10th, 2024.
Okay, we have a move, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Thank you very much. Okay, move on to number 4, the staff update. Do we have any staff update? Nothing? Okay. We'll move on down to item number 5. This is a chair project discussion. I have a few things today. Just give you an update on All Saints by the Sea Episcopal Church nomination. Currently, it has not been yet scheduled for the Board of Supervisors. They do always take a break in the summertime. It looks like it might be in mid-August, like August 20th or the August 27th meeting, but that has not been decided yet. So just to give you an update about when, or the last nomination that we did for All Saints, when it would appear before the Board of Supervisors. Update on the bronze plaques. As you know, we approved the look and everything of the bronze plaques. The subcommittee went over all the names. We went over them 1 or 2 times and we got approval. They did mock-ups for each one. They sent those back. We looked at them, we approved them. They went back to the foundry and now the foundry has them in their queue to be made. And it looks like it'll be about 6 to 8 weeks. So they're in the process of being made. And once, at the same time, the subcommittee has been working with the property owners on where they would like to put the plaques. And we are getting some good positive feedback for it. And once the location is mutually decided between the subcommittee and the owner, what we plan to do is take a picture of where they plan to put it. We'll bring it back to the full HLAC for final approval since they are landmarks and we should actually approve that as a whole body where they're going to be placed. So, it probably won't be all 6 at the same time. It'll be piecemeal. And, but that will be coming in future agenda items.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I can either speak to that now or under district reports.
Oh, well, you want to talk about it more? Okay. Yeah, that's
Sure.
fine. You can go further detail on that because I know you have something you want to talk about. And then also, I just want to let everyone know that on July 1st, last Monday, I had a Zoom meeting with Lisa Plowman, Director of Planning Development, and also Travis Seawards, Deputy Director, Development Review Division of Planning Development. It was a very long, very positive discussion, and we discussed various topics, including the HLAC budget and benefits to property owners of historic landmarks. I just want to be aware that I met with them and there's a lot of things in the discussion stage. And that is my chair project discussion for this meeting.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you been in contact with Amber Long about the All Saints application?
When, on actually July 1st, I sent an email to her. I actually sent her the information for the Cold Spring Bridge and the documents from the Caltrans and also the pictures that I had shown you when we had that discussion. So she has those. I had not really talked to her about All Saints. I will get on that. I know, she came back July 1st and 4th of July holiday. I'm planning this next week to really work on it and hopefully work with you on that because you have a good connection with her too, so we can get that going. But it's just a matter of, and she mentioned it that in the email that she would be working on those revisions. So I did have a discussion with her, as soon as she got back. Any other questions, clarification? Okay. Okay, well, let's move on to the HLAC budget. Everyone should have the budget for, this is the last one for 2023, 2024. There are things that are not in there that will be added later, and one would be the plaques. That has not been added yet. And I'm sure there are probably some other expenses like travel that haven't been posted yet that will probably be on there too. But as you can see, even if you take out what we planned for the plaques and for travel, it's the first time in a few years that we made it under budget, even though our problem with planning and staff support line item is still way out of line. So anyway, this is more of an informational item. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chair, did I was wondering how, let me rephrase, I was wondering if you were able to discuss HLAC's budget with the people that you had a Zoom meeting with the head of planning and development.
Yes, that was one of the topics. In fact, I mentioned that. I just said that we discussed various topics, including the HLAC budget.
And yes,
So,
was there any conclusions or ideas?
well, they're working on it. I mean, as you know, the new budget was just finalized, so nothing can be done with our new budget, which we haven't seen yet, which the way things have been going is probably exactly as our budget in front of us, which, as we know, that's been the same since 2011 at least, maybe before that. And so that was one of the discussions on why isn't staff support going in inflationary increments like everything else, should be. So that is a discussion that's going on behind the scenes, and I can't go into detail on it, but it was definitely talked. Okay, any other comments on the budget? Okay. Okay, well, let's move on to number 7, district reports. And this is where individual commissioners may present brief reports that would be of interest to the public and our commissions as a whole. Why don't we start with Commissioner Duncan, since he alluded to, he has a district report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, per direction from yourself and HLAC's concern, I met with the executive manager, the general manager of the Maddie's Tavern property. And I explained to him the situation that the commission had commissioned these plaques, and we wanted to be sure there was a place that would be good for serving the public and that the owners would be comfortable with. So he was actually very eager to meet with me, and I think we've found good locations on both Maddie's Tavern and the Hartley House, which is on the Maddie's Tavern property. And basically what I did is I made a little mock-up, just a piece of cardboard the right size, and then a size piece of paper that might reflect those in places where we actually have a backer board that's behind the plaque that assists us in the mounting. And so I think we can get it on both frontages in what would have been the public facade for both the house and the tavern, and in places that the public will see and will not interfere with anything historical. It's a little tricky in some cases. We've got board and batten construction, and you have to work around that. Um, and that's probably going to be the true same with the Davison House. And I'm planning to meet with the owner of the Davison House soon to resolve that. But we now know where the owners would be comfortable with placing the plaques on Maddie's and Harley. And I'd be glad to present that when you feel that that's appropriate. And we'll add what I find out about the Davison House.
Thank you very much. Just to follow up on that, just I guess since it's basically a district report too, is the other ones, Rocky Nook Park, I have been in email conversation with the head of the Parks Department, and they're looking at sites, and we will probably, subcommittee, do a visit, or some of us on the subcommittee do a visit to look also at the park, see where we might like to put the plaque. Also, I've been in conversation with the head of the Santa Barbara Botanical Gardens, and they also are looking at potential positions. And I said that we would also look, and then we can work together to, with the property owner. The only one that I really haven't been able to do any work yet with is the coral, and that's going to be more difficult to find out. Maybe I'll go through the manager of the property, and then the manager can go to. But everything is going forward to where we're going to, working to where we want to place it. Pardon me? Yeah, that'd be nice. Make sure it's a nice summer day. Okay, any other district reports?
I was contacted by Mark Wilkinson, who is Executive Director of the Santa Barbara County Trails Council. And it's a very brief letter, and I should probably read it because it actually will hook into
Okay, is this what was his name again?
Mark Wilkinson. He sent us all the hot springs information. but he
Okay, wasn't it? I thought that was
contacted me
Dave.
direct.
That was Dave.
I'm
David.
sorry, real quick. I'm hearing from people online. They're having a little bit trouble hearing. So if you could just speak directly into the microphone.
No, this is Mark Wilkinson from the Santa Barbara County Trails Council.
Okay.
And he sent attached documents that were sent showing trails being given historic landmark status. At a Wednesday meeting with County Planning and Development, I learned that the trails mentioned in the attached document are not listed as landmarks anywhere. However, the attached documents lead me to think that they could be. I thought you might know if the trails are genuine landmarks, or if they were not recorded, or if something else happened. And he actually sent the Board of Supervisors resolution making Rattlesnake, Hot Springs, Cold Spring, etc., all historic landmarks. So, okay.
Yeah, that we were going to discuss that now. It is in
okay.
the packet.
Oh,
Everyone
okay. It's not
received
on
the everyone has received the not the letter, but the documents. We just heard about this on July 2nd, which was Tuesday before the 4th. And unfortunately, we could not get it on today's agenda. So it's more of an informational item for everybody. Hopefully, we will be able to discuss this. I don't know, Anne, if maybe you want to, I know there's behind the scenes looking into this, planning development. But I just wanted to let everyone know that there is a document in front of you that was dated. It's a resolution that was approved by the County of Santa Barbara Board of Supervisors, resolution number 77-526. It was approved by the Board of Supervisors on November 7th, 1977, designated 6 trails: Arroyo Burro Trail, Rattlesnake Trail, Hot Springs Trail, Romero Canyon Trail, Rincon Trail, and the Fremont Trail. They were all listed as historic landmarks number 14 through 19, and it was approved unanimously by the Board of Supervisors on like I said, November 7th, 1977. So what they're looking into is what happened. Supposedly, if you look at our list of historic landmarks, there are no trails number 14 through 19. So we do not know what happened at this time. And their planning development is going back and they're looking into it. Um, and I don't know if county council can give us any further update on this.
No, I don't have a further update. My understanding is P and D is looking into it.
Okay, I know it was quite of a shock for me when I got this email, when I saw this, what? And also in here, there's the minutes from HLAC, and I think it's very interesting to look at those minutes from HLAC when you get a chance. I mean, it shows you the type of work they did back in 1977. They're listed in the minutes. But anyway, this is right now can only be informational because we really don't have any more known, but I just want everyone to know that this is, for me, it was a shock to see 6 historic landmarks that we didn't even know supposedly existed. And, you know, maybe something happened after the fact that we do not know, that hopefully we'll get an answer, you know, by the next meeting.
And I'm going to put this in another context. Apparently now there is some development that's happening up on the Hot Springs Trail. And so this has become a contested issue with planning and development. The trails groups are all asking that an EIR be required. So this is some background and why they've been looking into the landmarking of the trails.
Yeah, the letter that I received was from Dave Everett with the attachments. And it was a letter, it was a letter to the Board of Supervisors, but it was CC'd to Jonathan Martin, and Jonathan forwarded it to me so I could see it. So that is the letter that I saw that was sent to them. So all of the Board of Supervisors do have this information. Okay, any more district reports? Okay, well, let's move on to standard agenda item number 8. This is the designation of Chaffee residence and attached garage with sandstone landscape features. The County Historic Landmarks Advisory Commission, HLAC, will consider adopting a resolution designated the Chaffee residence with sandstone landscape features, including the residence with attached garage, the terrace and outdoor barbecue off the west side of the residence, and the plinth and entry gate post on East Valley Road, located at 2929 East Valley Road as a County of Santa Barbara Historic Landmark. HLAC will also consider determining that such action is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Section 15308 of the CEQA guidelines as an action taken by a regulatory agency as authorized by local ordinance to assure the maintenance, restoration, enhancement, or protection of the environment where the regulatory process involves procedures for protection of the environment. The property is a 9.94 acre parcel, Zone 5E-1, and shown as assessor's parcel number 005-040-025, located at 2929 East Valley Road in the Toro Canyon Community Plan area. This is in the 1st Supervisorial District. So I just want to go over a quick background, like I did last time, since we are the ones, as HLAC, as a group, brought this forward. So just a background on this. On June 10th, HLAC meeting 2024, the HLAC voted 8-1 to conceptually designate the Chaffee residence, attached garage, and associated landscape sandstone features as a historic landmark, and to continue the adoption of the resolution, which would be refined to allow progress on the proposed addition to the July 2024 HLAC hearing. That gives time to make the small revisions to the nomination and resolution. Would encourage council to consult with the property owners, representatives to see that the language works for all parties. So the small revisions were done to the nomination. The copy that you have here has the small revisions. If you want more detail on what they are, I can go over them with you. We still need to work on the new map number 3. We need to be able to show an outline of what are the proposed landscape features. So that would be in the nomination. Map number 3 right now is not sufficient for do that. And just give you a background of what has happened since our last meeting. As you know, County Council Ann Ryerson was on vacation. So County Council Callie Kim and I worked on the resolution with the carve out of the proposed project. So the resolution you see has a carve out for the proposed project for this property. Callie Kim also worked, as was directed to at our last meeting, worked with the property owners, representatives, and the property owner representative did submit some recommendation edits to the resolution. The proposed resolution before you includes the changes and carve out for the project. On July 5th, you also have this in front of you. The representatives of the owner sent a letter to express continued opposition to any historical designation of the property. So we did work with the property owners, we carved out their property, and they have still continued to oppose the historic designation of the property. So that's kind of the background of this. And I guess we could start with any ex parte from any of the commissioners. Seeing none. Any questions on this progress from the last meeting?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just wanted to hear from council about the way the carved out works, just to make sure that we understand entirely. So what you're relying upon basically is the project description of the large addition that we actually looked at before, and that was and what is in processing for a permit now.
That's correct. That's one of the carve outs. And there's also subsection D has a carve out for the interior work that was authorized by the building permit.
So, and that was work that they had already started a while back, and it's all on the interior. So in addition to what we might normally have on one of these resolutions, we've got allowing the interior changes, having the project as proposed go forward and not apply our review to it. And then the fact that it's a private property and they're not expected to have it open to the public. So those are all additions that we've made to our normal resolution.
That's right. I also have a few corrections I'd recommend. If now's the time. I don't know if you have more comments right now.
Well, certainly I want to hear.
Oh, okay. So the APN is in the header, and then in the first whereas clause needs to be corrected to match what's in the agenda. The planner confirmed that the correct APN is 005 40025. So that should be corrected. And then also in the first whereas clause, we don't list the attached garage there. So I think we should add after residence and attached garage. So that's consistent with how it's described elsewhere. The same correction should be on the signature page where the owner's signature is requested. So it should say Chaffee Residence and attached garage with sandstone landscape features. And then the resolution number, I believe, should be 2024-02. So that would be on the first page and on the header.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ryerson. Appreciate that. I caught one of those, and so did another commissioner I know, but not all of them that you did.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Nye.
Also, while we're on revisions, this is a more of a clerical one. There needs to be a footer at the bottom saying giving the resolution number and the page 1, page 2. When I typed this, I I ruined it. So I said, oh, I'll put it at the top, but I only was able to get half of it up. And I was using an old, prototype. And so anyway, somebody who knows how to use computers can if you look at one of the other resolutions, you look at the kind of headers that they put in. So it can start right off at the bottom, page 1 of 6 or whatever. Thank you.
So just to clarify, you want to move the resolution number from the header to the footer?
Yeah, that was that I did that just to have something up there, but yeah.
Okay, we're still in questions, I guess. Any more questions? Okay, so we should probably move on to are we ready for public comment now? I'm a little confused on where I'm at.
Public comment, I think,
We
Mr.
should move on to public comment. Now, actually, though, we should, since the applicants are here, we always let them speak differently than public comment since this is the property. And so I think maybe let's move to the applicants' response to everything that's happened this last week. We did receive the letter, as I mentioned. But I think just to be fair, I think the applicants should be able to speak whatever they'd like to say at this time.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just a point of reference there. In this case, they're not the applicants.
Yeah, we're the applicants, but they're the
They are
property owners.
representatives of the property.
I want to give them as much time on this issue here. So go right ahead. Thank you very much. Any questions from commissioners? Go right ahead.
Did the owners understand when they purchased the property that this could happen?
Any other? Commissioner? Commissioner Malcolm?
How long have they owned the property for?
I guess that's all the, oh yeah, Commissioner Nye.
I have a comment. I did a brief historical assessment of that property way back when. It obviously never made it. It never got saved and passed on. It was a different owner. But that's too bad.
Any other? Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, now we can move to a public comment. Do we have any public comment?
We have nobody here to speak, and we just have the applicant being present. And we have received no requests to speak or letters.
Okay. Okay, so we had public comment and okay, well, this is moving on very quickly here. I guess we should start working on comments on this project. As we know, we conceptually approved the nomination last month, and we asked to revise the resolution, which is before us with quite a few very good corrections that have been presented today. And we have the property owner saying they do not want it to be designated. So let's move to comments from commissioners. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Malcolm.
All right. Just because we can does not mean we should. It is imperative that we exercise discernment and restraint. The mere capability to act does not inherently justify the action itself. This principle echoes a sentiment often associated with apprehension of what was termed the 9 most terrifying words in the English language. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. I want to illustrate with a mock conversation between the Landmark Commission and the property owner. We're from the Landmarks Commission and we're here to help. Okay. Help with what? Congratulations. We've identified your house as eligible to be deemed a county historic landmark. All right. With this designation, your historic house will be protected from demolition and any construction projects that would infringe on its historic integrity. We're right in the middle of adding on to our property. What does that mean for us? With this designation, your property will be eligible for exemptions that fall under the Historic Building Code, and anytime you want to renovate or remodel your property, your plans will come before the commission to help guide your process. Oh, well, thank you for your offer, but as you can see, our construction process does not harm the historic integrity of our home, and we are committed to protecting the property's historical value. I'm going to pause right there. That is a quote from their lawyer. They are committed to protecting the property's historical value. They are on record with this commitment. Now getting back to the conversation. We wish you would think about it and reconsider. Well, maybe in the future, and then all the while thinking, why are they harassing us? What did we do wrong? We're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing. How many times do we have to say no? We come back with a big smile and say, okay, you will take our help whether you like it or not. And I'm thinking now, okay, now we hate you, and any goodwill that could have been had in the future is now gone. Imposition of landmark status without consent can foster mistrust within our community. Yes, the Landmark Commission has mandated safeguarding Santa Barbara's historic treasures. I agree that this property should be designated as a landmark, and I appreciate all the work that has gone into this proposal, but I disagree with how we are going about it. There has been a long understood unwritten rule or guideline that the commission does not contravene a property owner's wishes if that property owner does not want their property landmarked. Yes, we did violate that guideline once, and it can be argued that it very well could have been violated a couple more times had those property owners not conceded. However, those were cases where there was much public concern that those properties were in danger of losing their historic integrity. Never to my knowledge has this commission ignored the wishes of private citizen property owners who were already acting as good stewards to their property to impose a landmark designation. If we continue down this path, the landmark designation will not be seen as an honor to brag about, rather a feared imposition of property rights. We must keep relations with the public positive and strong, maintain positive public relations, and uphold decades of goodwill already established by this commission. Such overreach must be avoided. So, in alignment with our duty to serve the community faithfully, I urge my fellow commissioners, do not consider landmark proposal at this time. We have another designation called Place of Historic Merit. We have traditionally used this designation when the property owner did not want the landmark designation. And although this designation does not have written protections for this property, what it will do is give a win-win to the situation. It acknowledges the historic significance without imposing restrictions, yet flagging the property for further review whenever a permit is applied for. A trust but verify approach. Place of Historic Merit designation is a balanced solution that respects both the historic preservation and the property owner's autonomy. And as long as the owners live up to their promise to protect the property's historical value, then we are fulfilling our Chapter 18A-1 purpose. If it turns out that they fail on their promise or any future owner becomes disruptive to the property's historic integrity, which we would find out if a permit is applied for, then that will fulfill our Chapter 18A-2 purpose and elevate the designation to landmark status in order to save it. Designating the property as a place of historic merit is a perfect win-win solution. Please let us consider it.
Thank you, Commissioner Malcolm. Commissioner Saluga.
Yes, I have a brief concurrence with what was just presented. I think at the last meeting, we, in my opinion, were trying to come to a reconciliation and a compromise solution to satisfy the property owners and allow them to accept voluntarily the designation or landmark status. They have now said, no, thank you. And it's my opinion that we need to accept that rather than imposing this on the landowner. Thank you.
Was Commissioner Snow, did you want to do your comments now?
Well, I don't know whether the property owners would be willing to accept a property of historic merit designation. Or would they oppose that as well?
Commissioner Duncan.
Mr. Chair, well, I think Randy deserves an Oscar nomination here. Definitely, that's some of the most carefully orchestrated grandstanding I've seen from this dais. I think there's a reason why we are given the power to landmark and why we've decided to do so in this case. The structure that we're trying to protect is truly remarkable, and it retains great integrity. The architect who did it was a notable Southern California architect, and he is known for his amazing revival styles. And here we have one of the earliest one and a very different revival style than what we typically see in architecture in Santa Barbara. And it's in stone. Um, So I think there are lots of reasons why this is a very special resource. And I suspect that's one of some of the things that made it attractive to the owners who purchased it. As to assistance from the government, as somebody who lives in the valley, I'm really happy that the government is working to control a fire that is destroying both public and private property right now. And that the fire service stands by and the fire department encourages and tells people they have to abate fire hazard so that there is reduce the risks of fire. One of the things we're doing here is reducing the risk that this structure's historical integrity will be damaged. Um, and I think, that's why we have this mechanism. I think we've carved out the ability of this property owner to develop what they want to develop on the site and not inconvenience them, but also preserve the historic resource that's there. I do think when you talk about view, and that is interesting to see this, and it's part definitely of our mission and what we're empowered to do. Okay, view may not be public at one point in time, but it may be public at another point in time. For instance, when I was very involved with all the gardens that are in Montecito, many of those private houses you can't see until a tour of landscape architects from all across the country want to come and look at the gardens of Santa Barbara. And then those property owners are very happy to show off what they have. And the same holds true for Santa Barbara architecture, which is truly noteworthy. So it may not be that anybody walking down the street sees this property, but the ability of the public to view it in one way or another, or to see pictures of it, because then you won't be able, if the historic integrity is destroyed, then you won't even be able to see pictures of the historic residence without its integrity damaged. So that view you should think of in a broader sense than just the man walking down the street. So I'm still confirmed that this is the right step we're taking. Certainly the Board of Supervisors might choose a different path, but we've done what we can to allow the property owner to move forward. And I really appreciate the attorney's pointed detail, especially the references regarding subsections D and E. That's a major drop. We should not have not have done. So let's make sure that's something that we will definitely change in the resolution. But we have, as pointed out by council, 3 different conditions here that we wouldn't normally have on a resolution in order to provide this property owner with both the flexibility to carry out their project and protect them from what they might feel as unwarranted intrusions. I'm glad we have diversity of opinion up here, but I still feel comfortable doing my job as I see it.
Thank you, Commissioner Duncan. Any commissioners want to comment? Commissioner Steinbach?
So I've been through this process and I empathize with everything. I think there are some things as a commission that we need to look into, probably, Ann. I mean, people not being advised that this could happen to their property before they purchase it is something that I think needs to be corrected somehow. I don't know if that's the Realtors Association or who it is, but this is kind of the same thing that happened to me. I bought the property and then I found out that it could be designated, and it was a surprise to me. So I find that is something that we need to address. I agree. I'm amazed by by Randy. That was great. And I agree with Commissioner Duncan that that was an amazing performance. So kudos to both of you. It was really good. So my family is originally from Milwaukee, and we have a gorgeous, well, Victorian weird mansion there in Milwaukee that when it changed ownership, it was torn down. So while I certainly empathize with you, I think that we've done a good job of carving things out. And it's great that the current ownership is maintaining everything they can, but we don't know what comes after that. So I think that's kind of the point. If in fact, the rest of my commissioners support moving to a house of merit rather than a landmark, I can go with that one either. But I commend the current ownership for keeping it as it is, and who wouldn't want to do that? It's the future that you just don't know what happens. And this is what happened with our little house in Milwaukee. So I can see that happening.
Thank you, Commissioner Steinway. Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Nye.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments of all of our commissioners, and very good points were made on all sides. And there's something to be said for honoring the homeowners' wishes. But having said all that, I have to agree with Mr. Duncan. I am swayed by the interest and mission of our commission to protect and preserve the historic resources of this county. And this is what we were all brought together to do. And so while we have worked very hard to write a resolution and to work with the owners, and I think that we have done about all we can on their behalf, and now it's time to look at the larger picture. It's hard for me to envision any particular damage that this designation might do to the landowners. And yet I can easily recommend or easily recognize the benefits that the public at large would accrue having this landmark designation approved. So I am in favor of going forward with this designation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Nye. Commissioner Snow,
Well, no, I was wondering.
we're still in comments right now.
Everybody's been very persuasive, but recently we have lost a landmark. It was just destroyed, even though it was a landmark. So we are acutely sensitive to the fragility of landmarks. And so I would be supporting this, because even if the owners now don't, say there is no imminent threat, you never know what's going to happen in the future or if they sell it. We may not be notified in case of a sale. And so this way, there's a little assurance that it would at least be required to come back to us.
Any other comments? Okay, I guess, Commissioner Malcolm?
Just one last suggestion, before we go to a motion, suggest maybe two motions. One first for place of historic merit, and then the second one for the landmark designation. That has been done in the past. And I think it might be appropriate today, just to give least some support on the first one. I'm sure everyone would support the first one, not, I know everyone won't support the second one, but at least we can see the, where the sentiment is.
I believe the agenda is for a historic landmark. So I think that is,
I didn't see that on there. I just,
yeah, yeah. The agenda is, it's for a historic landmark.
it just says designation.
So if anything, we'd have to vote for that first and then maybe bring back for a merit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It doesn't say landmark.
Historic landmark. It says located at 2920 East Valley Road as a County of Santa Barbara historic landmark.
Okay, way down.
Yeah.
But, okay, in the paragraph. it says-
Well, I have a few comments. I have to say, I think this commission has always been very concerned about property rights and wanting to work with property owners when we work on designations. As it was stated many times by the property owner, that this very rarely happens. Moving forward with something that that the property owner does not want, in this case, a historic landmark. I feel that we have worked diligently with the property owners and their representatives to carve out their projects, trying to get their support, trying not to do anything that would slow down the project that they have before the county at this time. And I think this resolution in front of us carves that out very well, that their current project would not be affected by a landmark designation. I want to comment on their July 5th, the letter that we received, and it states in the July 5th that a designation will cause undue delays and expenses for the owners as it related to any future projects, none of which are planned at this time. Just like the existing projects on future projects will have to go through extensive county planning process and receive confirmation that any proposed changes will not impact the historic resource. And I just want to state, yes, that is the case. If this becomes a landmark, it will come before HLAC for any approval. And we're talking about only concerning the exterior of the Chaffee residence, attached garage, and designated sandstone hardscapes. So my question is, I don't see what's wrong with that. We're experts in historic preservation. And it's just one small step to come to us with a project and we give our opinion. We could do some changes to it, not do changes to it. But it's just a step to preserve further a historic landmark. So I really don't see a problem with it having to come to us. Anyone you can see in our past, just recent Coral Casino. I mean, they come to us, we go through whatever they're planning, and we give them suggestions, and it moves on to the next commission. So I can't see this slowing down any future projects. First of all, they say future. This project here isn't planned to be done in the next 2 or 3 years. So we're looking at something down the road. And I just see this as such a major historic resource for the county of Santa Barbara. The architect has done some amazing things, and this Norman Revival style is a very rare design, and I think it really deserves preservation. And I think we've worked with the property owner as much as we can, and I'm just looking at what our position is as creating historic landmarks. And maybe the supervisors won't approve it. I don't know. There's a good chance maybe they won't. But I feel I'm doing my job by moving it forward to the Board of Supervisors for approval. And so I will be in support of this. And I'm sorry that the property owners are not agreeing to support it. But I just feel doing my job as a member of this commission is to move forward to help preserve a property that's very distinguished in the county of Santa Barbara. So does anyone here want to make a motion on this resolution?
Mr. Chair, I'm glad to do that, but first I have a question for council,
Okay, go right ahead.
little detail. I'm looking at the revisions that Ms. Steinfeld recommended, and I just want to get council's take on this. And what we're looking to is the clauses that refer to the exclusions. And that those exclusions basically take away our review. And the first one is under 2A at the bottom on page 2. And then the second one is under 2B that's on the top of the third page. Now, I can understand under 2B, that's the one that says no alterations, repairs, additions, or changes. By referring to that, adding the reference to except as set forth in their subsection D below and E, so you're adding the carve out to this exclusion in that one. I understand that. Under 2A, however, on the other top of the page, it's a little more broad in terms of what it's allowing without us looking at it. That's talking about demolition, removal, or destruction. Now, it's true that the addition is going to be attached to the rear of the garage. And is that going to involve some demolition? And is that why you feel you need that carve out? Council, do you understand the distinctions I'm making between those two?
Hi, Steve Fort with Suzanne Ellis Planning and Permitting. There would need to be an opening made to provide that access to the addition from that extension of the house to the garage. Yes, there would need to be an opening of some sort. You know, I don't have the plans in front of me, and I wasn't anticipating that question. I don't know if there's an existing opening, you know, like maybe a door or a window that might be being used. I just don't know off the top of my head. I apologize. But I would defer to Ms. Steinfeld's expertise in asking for that addition or that correction to be made in 2A there, unless she thinks differently. But I do hear the conversation that you're having, but I would defer to using the language that Ms. Steinfeld recommended in both of those sections, 2A and 2B, I think it was.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Okay, then I'm going to go back to council. So if we leave in 2A and we say except as set forth in subsections D and E, which is what they're asking for, then whatever demolition that they do will be restricted to what is described in the project description that the carve out specifies.
Yes, that's correct. And I also think that correction is fine because it's consistent with how E is drafted already. It says at the end of it that the project is not subject to the foregoing conditions set forth in subsections A and B. So,
okay, right. So, but in both cases, you'd add E to where it says D.
yes, I think that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Duncan.
So with that clarification, I think we're actually very wise in going ahead with this. We're being proactive and we're protecting a remarkable resource. And I think obviously this is going to still allow an incredible amount of development on the property and changes to go on specifically as restricted to the project that's been proposed. And that's the argument that the property owners representatives has made, that they are protecting the property by making their additions in the way they are. So we're saying, okay, we'll buy that, but we also want to protect the core historic resource here, and that's what we're doing. So I feel it's not without carefully evaluating what it is we're protecting and overprotecting something that we don't need to. So I would go ahead and move that the Historic Landmarks Advisory Commission designate the Chafee residence and attached garage with sandstone landscape features as a Santa Barbara County historic landmark, and adopt the resolution as revised. And I'll note the revisions that I've been able to keep track of. We have a new resolution number. We have a change to the parcel so that it makes sure it references 005040025 wherever we see that. In that first paragraph, we add the and attached garage. And then on the second page, at the bottom of it, we're going to add to 2A as requested by Ms. Steinfeld. And you could have a job up here anytime you want, as far as I'm concerned. We're going to add E to the subsection, so a D and E. And then on the next page where we have B, once again, it'll say except as set forth in subsections D and E. Then when we get to the page with the signatures, once again, we're going to make sure that that refers to the garage also. And then we're going to incorporate the headers that Commissioner and I noted that need to be in the rest of the document. And those were the amendments I saw that needed to be made to the resolution that I propose we adopt.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Snow seconds.
Just a clarification, I understand this also incorporates the CEQA recommendation
Exactly.
agenda.
So now we're open for further discussion. We have a motion on the table. Commissioner Malcolm.
All right, once again, this is a mistake. We can serve our purposes with a place of historic merit. It will still flag the property if a permit is pulled for our review. It'll be a little bit more due diligence on the commission's part. However, I think it would be a fair compromise to everyone involved. I wish it would have been considered first. And do it.
Okay, any further? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. Let's do a roll call vote, and we'll go from my left to my right. So we'll start with Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Commissioner Knight,
Aye.
Mr. Steinwalk,
Aye.
Commissioner Nye, Commissioner Snow,
Aye.
Commissioner Saluga,
No.
Commissioner Malcolm,
No.
and Commissioner Kaufman Gray. Aye. Okay, well, thank you very much. And it was approved, and it will move on towards the Board of Supervisors for final approval. And thank you for coming today. Bless you.
And there are some avocados, if anybody wants any, down on the table.
Let me get rid of close out the meeting here. Okay. Our next meeting for the Historic Landmarks Advisory Commission will be August 12th, 2024 at 10 o'clock, and it will be in the same room here, the Board of Supervisors hearing room in the 4th floor. I now adjourn this meeting. Thank you.